What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today's video is going to be about rental car insurance. One of the biggest questions you guys ask all the time, and I tell you over and over again, there's certain things you need to know to figure out if you qualify for rental car insurance. It's not just calling around and seeing if you find it, you actually got to qualify it. So most of this stuff I save for my course, but I'm going to give you guys a few tidbits so this way you guys can figure out if you even qualify for rental car insurance and some of the things you need to be ready for. But before I do, if you can do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it helps me find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also consider subscribing. We post 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at automotive.life. We post crazy stuff there every single day. We show a lot of our flips, trips to the auction, buying cars, stuff like that. So for a lot more intimate content, definitely check us out there. And once again, I want to say thank you guys so much. I know we just broke 45,000 subs, but we still have that gift card to give away. So we used our scientific method of scrolling up and down to pick our winner. And today's winner is Michael Kangas. Very helpful, future technician. I'm in school at the moment. Congratulations, Michael. I just commented on here. Make sure you respond back and then email us for your gift card. And what we're going to do also on this video is we're going to give out another gift card for $100. So this way we can help you guys in your automotive journey. Because like I said, I don't care if you're a dealer, car flipper, rental car guy, whatever it is, you're going to need tools for your journey in the automotive industry. So we're going to give you another $100 Harbor Freight gift card. All you got to do to qualify is just put a comment section down below. Also, anything you need to ask, if you have questions on your rental car business, your car dealership, we pretty much do it all. My whole goal is to be the biggest automotive channel that's giving out actual automotive knowledge. We're not just buying cars and changing the exhaust and showing it online. We want to actually show you something that can make a difference in your life, that can help you make money and grow your, business in the automotive industry. Without all that shameless plugging out of the way, let's get into the video. Okay guys, rental car insurance. This thing is more mythical than a unicorn. Now, I'm going to start off with a few different things that you're going to need to know before you even talk about or think about getting, rental car insurance. So a lot of people always ask, well, how do I get it? First thing you need to do is you need to be a licensed business. A lot of companies are not going to give you any type of quotes, anything else like that, unless they can check your state ID number as well as your LLC or S Corp, whatever else you're doing. So first thing you're going to need is an actual license. Sorry, my handwriting's sloppy, but you're going to need a license just to get started. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, why would I spend the money before I can know how much to get my insurance? Welcome to business. That's just the way it is. You're going to have to spend money to make money. So first thing you're going to need is to figure out your rental car license. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, well, I have been trying to find my rental car license. They don't exist. You need to think outside of the box. That's why we offer the consulting calls. So some states and some cities, you cannot get a rental car license. You have to get a short-term lease or lesser license. You have to get a dealership, automotive repair shop, a whole bunch of other ways. So there's 5 different ways of actually getting your rental car license. You just need to know how it is. So if you guys want to book a call, links down below. I'll go ahead and go over that information with you at that time, but right now we're going to stick to insurance. So after we figure out, okay, well, we got our license, we're ready to go, what's the next thing? The reason why everyone asks me, what's the one place where you get insurance? There is no one-stop shop. Every single city, county, and state is completely different. And not saying a little, like completely different. So the company that I currently use right now only writes for the state of Nevada, and it only writes for Clark County. And the only reason I got my insurance is because I've been a dealer for over 10 years and I've had insurance with them for a long time. So I'm going to go over some of the breakdowns and then I'm going to give you some of the exclusions you guys are going to run into. So like I said, it depends on your state. Your city, because like I said, even though you're in the same state, your buddy across the street can have something different, but if he's in a different city, different limits of liability. It also depends on the county. Different counties have different regulations, different liability limits. Also, if your county is right next to another state, you may have to get multiple different types of insurance policies, as well as zip code. There's some insurance companies that do not insure in certain zip codes. And it's going to sound really bad, but Chicago, there's a bunch of areas where most rental car companies will never insure you. So if you are going to do business, you have to make sure that you do it outside of that realm. Also, they need to know if you're going state to state. That is a completely different insurance. So if you're on the border of another state, something else like that, you're going to need to get that written into your policies. Now, this is just to start off. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. What makes you qualified to become an actual insuree? Because believe it or not, this is just like applying for a license. You have to be approved and qualified for this. So first they're going to ask for years of experience. Nobody knows this. I'm probably the only one that's going to tell you about this. 90% of you guys are getting turned down because you have no years of experience. They're going to ask for some sort of documented proof, something of that nature. Now, when we show you and set you up on the program, we tell you where to apply, how to apply, and write up your business plan. So this way you don't run into that problem where you apply for a license and they're like, oh, we don't have any years of experience, and they kick you out down the road. Next thing is car minimum. Now, what is car minimum? Most states and most cities and most insurance companies want a minimum amount of vehicles on the policy to start the policy. So depending on where you're at, they're actually going to ask you, well, how many cars do you have in your fleet? If you say 1, 2, 3, sometimes a lot of the companies will write you a policy to get started. But there are some states and some insurance companies that do not care. They want minimum of 8 to 10 cars as minimum to start your rental car policy. So I always tell everybody, you know, before you get started, this is something we have to research to find out, because I don't want you to go buy 2 Ferraris and then find out you can't get that rental car because you got to have 8 to 10 vehicles. Now the next thing of that is going to be your term, your limits, and type of use or type of car. All right, now this is the fun one. This is the one that's going to screw everybody up. This is probably the most important thing that you're going to need to know about if you want to do exotic cars. So I'm just going to put exotic cars right here. Exotic cars. All right. You can call every rental car company, whether it's here in Vegas, California, everything else. First thing they're going to tell you, it's almost impossible to get insurance for exotic rental cars. The reason is because you got to have 1, so many years in business doing this. 2, you got to have a minimum of so many cars. And then 3, we're going to go to the term, the limits, and the type of usage. So if you're getting an exotic car, they're going to want you to have probably at least a couple $100,000 in the bank minimum. Sometimes they're going to ask you to put maybe a $500,000 to $600,000 bond up. So they'll put $600K in a bank account and they'll leave it there just in case if you have accidents, because they don't want to write you a new policy. And a lot of places will not write policies for exotic car companies, new ones, because what happens is there's so many people that are so stupid they don't listen to the actual business terms. They go out, they buy all these Ferraris and Lamborghinis, they rent them out, they rob the piggy bank. Every time they make a rental, they spend the money living some stupid lifestyle, and then they realize that they're $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 upside down in all these cars. Well, if you take, 4 Ferraris and you're upside down, $500,000, $600,000, excuse me, $100,000 underneath each one, you're screwed. So what are you going to do? You're going to commit insurance fraud. So you're going to burn up all these cars, so this way you don't have to pay that deficit. And now what happens is everybody that wants to get rental car insurance after you is going to pay for the past sins of the last few companies. So that's why a lot of people can't get exotic rental car insurance. There are a few companies that still do it, but it's very hard to get to, and you got to have a strategic strategy to get this type of insurance, or you're going to get screwed, shut down, or they're not going to get the correct coverage. That's where the terms, limits, and type of usage is. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're starting a rental car company and you get your insurance, never lie to the insurance company. Too many people say stupid stuff. Oh, it's only for part-time use. It's not moving. Nobody's going to drive it. Don't lie to them, because if something's going to happen, it's going to happen on your most expensive car. And if you have, a $200,000 Lambo and somebody takes it out and wraps it around a pole, and you lie to your insurance company telling them you only rent it out for movie scenes, you don't rent it out for like rentals, they're not going to cover it. And so now you're going to be running risk of 1, losing a car, and 2, if they figured out you lied to them, they'll just cancel your policy. And once they cancel your policy, they tell the city and state that you're not doing business, they pull your license, and then on top of that, they black flag you. So this way you can never get another policy with another vendor. So this is why when people ask me, well, just tell me the real quick, easy answer of getting insurance for my rental car company. There is no easy answer. There's all these factors that come into play. And not only that, this is just half of it. I wish I had a bigger board. I could probably fill this thing all the way up down the wall. So now that we have, like I said, how to get your license, we talked about the city, state, we also talked about the cars and limits and everything else. Next thing you're going to know is, how are you financing them? Because they're actually going to care about if you're financing them or if you're paying cash. So we're going to do finance, We're gonna do F&I, and then we're gonna do cash. Okay. The reason why your rental car company needs to know this is they want to see what kind of liquidity you're in and what kind of money what kind of money they're managing. Because believe it or not, even if you do commit some sort of stupid insurance fraud, the insurance company will pay out your banks on certain vehicles. So let's say you have a $300,000 Ferrari and somebody crashes it, and you lied and you kind of did some shady stuff, you rented it off platform and you didn't get any contracts or nothing like that. Well, they still have an obligation to the bank. They don't have an obligation to you. So let's say you owe $200,000 on that Ferrari. They may pay the bank the $200,000, but let's say your car's worth the $300,000, they will not pay you the difference, that $100,000, because you committed fraud. So they want to see what the risk is. So that all calculates into your payment and if they're going to sign you up for a policy. So if you have multiple exotic cars or some few cheap cars, buckets, Nissan Altimas, and you own them cash, it puts you in a better position when it comes to actually doing this type of this type of insurance policy. If you do F&I, they don't matter. When it comes to regular cars, it's not that big of a stretch. But when you get into the exotic and classic cars and motorcycles and RVs and stuff, it completely changes the dynamics. So they want to know exactly how you're renting it and what you're doing with the vehicle. Now, before we get into the next part, I want to make sure that you guys definitely leave a comment down below, so this way you get qualified for the $100 Harbor Freight gift card. This way it'll give you, like I said, a start on your tools, get some cool stuff, whatever you want to get from Harbor Freight. So make sure your comment section below if you have a question about this stuff or anything else, or you just want to put something funny, toast, I buy that for $1, whatever it is, definitely much appreciated. So the next thing we're going to talk about, what the insurance company cares about, is you. Biggest thing, they want to know who you are. So if they say who you are, they want to know about your experience. Now, we talked about that just a minute ago over here. So your experience is going to come into play. Next thing they want to know about is your credit. Because believe it or not, when insurance is just a small extension of credit, because they're hoping that you're going to make monthly payments on this particular policy, so at the end of the term, they'll at least justify their hedge on why they're insuring your vehicles for the long term. But if you have really poor credit and you don't pay your bills on time, and they're taking a risk of let's say insuring 20 Nissan Altimas or 3 exotic cars, they're not going to feel too comfortable. So credit is a big part. Plus, credit's going to pay determination on your policy premiums. So I have a lot of dealers and other rental car companies where if you have bad credit, your premium is going to be much higher than everybody else's, or they're going to ask for a larger down payment. So when I started my dealership, they asked me for $1,500 down and X amount of dollars every month. But let's say you have really bad credit and you're trying to start a rental car company, they're going to say, okay, well, we'll give you the policy, but we're going to charge you, instead of somebody with good credit, $1,500 to start their policy, we're going to charge you $5,000 up front, because they want to get majority of the policy up front just in case if you don't make your payments. So when it comes to having bad credit, you're actually going to pay a lot more to get all this stuff started. So you can pay for this to get started, but make sure within a year, work on your credit, because every year you have to renew your policies and your bonds and your insurance. So you need to make sure that you work on that so next time around you're not so upside down. So once we get the credit out of the way, they're going to want to know like what's your, almost forgot. So they also are going to want to know what is your background. Now, I'm not talking about like your ethnicity or where you're from. They want to know, do you have a criminal background? Now, very few insurance policies are going to ask for something like this. It's only like the really, really big ones, because what happens is they want to make sure that you're not involved in any type of fraud. If they pick up that you're in any type of fraud, they may not insure you. So some will ask for your driver's license and everything else, and if you look through your policy, they may ask for a criminal background check. Now, don't be alarmed. It's just part of doing business. You have to do these types of things. It's part of the insurance company's due diligence to make sure that you're going to be a good customer or a qualified insuree. So when I talk about this stuff, like I said, it's not only just buying insurance, it's making sure that you actually qualify for it. So all these things play together to help you get your policy. Now, once we got all this stuff taken care of, we're going to talk about the next step. I got to erase a little bit of space on the board so this way we can have more to talk about. Now, before we go into this last part, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. Insurance is very complicated and hard to explain. So that's why I highly recommend, if you need more information, either book a consulting call or actually purchase the course, because it goes over different types of things. Because there's different types of insurances, first, secondary, primary, third, and supplemental and everything else. But I want to boil it down to maybe a little bit easier, so this way we can just get it done in about 5 minutes. And we're just going to focus on business practices. Now, just like your license, your insurance can be revoked at any time. And it's like I said, it's that thread that unravels the sweater. So it's very important that you practice good business practices and implement these once you get your insurance policy. So once you get your insurance policy, like I said, you're not out of the woods yet. We need to make sure that you don't get screwed over. So every time you do a rental, I don't care if it's for 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, whatever, there's certain things you're going to need to get. You always need to make sure you get a front and back copy of their driver's license. Always get a front and back copy of whatever security card, credit card, another ID, passport, whatever the case is. You need to get multiple things to protect you if that customer were to consume. Plus, we're just going to put IDs. Next, we're going to put GPS. The insurance company won't tell you this, but if you don't GPS their cars, they're going to look at you like a rookie. You have to have the GPSs for all your cars. And make sure when you talk to them, you say, hey, all my cars are GPSed. If you guys have started disabling GPSs, even better. Because now they know that you actually know what the hell you're doing. You're not just some rookie just throwing cars up there. So we have our IDs, our GPSs, contracts. Do not be a cheap bastard and write something out and just have your buddies sign it. Pay for one of these monthly softwares. They're really good. I personally use Rent-Centric. It gives you all your contracts, gives you all your information. They're state specific. They're very good. So this way, if anybody does anything to your car, you're covered. Plus, you can go after the person's insurance. Now, like I said, do not be cheap. Don't write something up. Don't Mickey Mouse it. Part of doing business is spending money. If you're not going to do at least this, don't even waste your time with the insurance. Next is we're going to talk about insurance. Now, I know you're thinking of, well, we just talked about insurance. This insurance is the customer's insurance. If you're an idiot and you don't get a copy of their insurance and you don't get everything else, you cannot successfully file a claim, because even though you do have insurance on your rental cars, you never ever want to call them for a claim, because what happens is if you file a claim, your rate gets doubled or tripled by the next year. So I always tell people this and they don't understand why. You never file a claim on your insurance because you don't want your insurance to go up. You want to file a claim against your customer's insurance. So if they screw up your car, oh, sorry, getting a phone call. So if they screw up your car, you don't have to worry about it. You can actually just go after their insurance. But if you don't get the correct documentation, contract, GPS, ID, and their insurance, you're pretty much screwed. So make sure that you put in the good business practices of actually getting the copy of the consumer's insurance. Now, if you don't have this, you're gonna have to sell supplemental insurance. Same thing, if you want more information about that, you're gonna have to book a consulting call or buy the course, because that right there is like a 4-page thing where I could talk forever about it. But we're just going to put supplemental insurance. Now, once you start your business practices, believe it or not, a lot of these vendors that we talked about, you're actually going to come to you once you become a licensed, legit business. Now, once you get all this stuff together, now you can start going ahead and renting to the general public. You don't have to rely on just Turo or HireCar or whatever else other platforms you're using. This will start setting you up where you can make long-term success and do something completely different, because towards the last year and a half before I sold my dealership, my company, I didn't use Turo at all. All my leads came from social media. So when we booked our cars on social media, they went to our website. Everything was done basically via tablet. If you've seen my videos on some of the rental software, it's actually pretty cool. We go through all this stuff. You book it online. You never see the customer. They drive away. They use the keypad. It's a beautiful thing. But this gives you the option to scale, because once you become a licensed business, you have insurance, we can start helping you get lines of credit to get more cars. You don't have to use your personal credit. Once again, I'm never ever going to tell you to go get 7, 8 cars in your personal credit. There's a lot of these YouTuber gurus that are telling you to go out and max out your personal credit to get a bunch of cars on your credit. Don't ever do that. If you do it this way, you do it the right way, you could scale. So if you're doing really well and all of a sudden you're like, hey, Lucky, I need 30 cars to fill up my fleet, I'm completely empty, we can do the right things to get you business lines of credit where you can actually build it up. Where these other clowns are going to tell you to go buy 30 cars, then get your grandma to apply for 10 cars and your baby mama and everybody else. Everybody go out and apply for cars. Totally the wrong way to do it. Don't listen to them. Don't rent out other people's cars. Just keep it the regular way business was intended. Now, I know there's not a lot of people out there talking about what we're talking about, and there's not a lot of instruction. So like I said, put your comment section down below. Worst case scenario, you win a free gift card. Best case scenario, I answer all your questions and things you need to know. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm trying to give the best information I possibly can. We're currently finishing up with our licensing here in Vegas, so I'm going to have my license done, which is, well, my business license is done. Now I'm just working on my floor plans and my lines of credit, my insurance, and my bond and everything else. So once I get that done, I'm going to bring you guys over there so this way I can show you some of the process, because I'm not going to do exotic cars and I'm not going to do cheap cars. I want to do stuff kind of in the middle, so this way, one, I don't compete with a lot of my friends, because I have a few friends here that own exotic rental car companies, so I want to be that guy. Plus, it's a big headache. You make more money off of cheap cars than you do exotic cars. I'll tell you that every single day, but I know it's not sexy, but people don't care. You guys remember, I love renting U-Hauls, moving trucks, Sprinter vans, stuff like that. That stuff is gold to me. So that's pretty much what I'm going to focus on, as well as classic cars. So it'll be some really cool videos. But like I said, we're building up the studio right now as we speak. That's why I'm talking in here, because I'm doing some stuff behind me at the other spots. We got a lot of really great stuff going on, so definitely stay tuned. But once again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please gently squeeze the like button. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, find more people like you that are interested in automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. I post 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at automotive.life. We post great stuff there all the time. If you want to see me on a daily basis, if you're not sick of my voice yet, we go to the auction, we flip cars, we go to, you know, crazy car events here in Vegas. Sometimes we just get cheap $500 cars, we jump them off a ramp, which we did last week. If you guys saw that, it was definitely hilarious. But we do a little bit of funny stuff that we don't normally do on here. So here I feel like I'm like in school, we're teaching, but then on Instagram, it's kind of my personality. You get to see who I am and what I do and everything else. But anyways, thank you guys so much again, and we'll see you next video. And don't forget, leave a comment down below, so this way you get your chance to win a $100 gift card from Harbor Freight. And yeah, we'll see you next time.